Hello friends, and welcome back to Melissa's Illustrated Tales. Grab your tea, grab a cozy blanket, and come relax and draw with me. Today I drew a deer and a crow in this small sketchbook that we are coloring with alcohol markers and color pencils. Stay tuned until the end to see the horrible result of the cute little sketch. As I was watching this back to edit, I realized how I started off on the right foot, filling in the deer and the crow at once, but as soon as I started adding in more colors besides the base layer, that's where things went wrong. I started coloring in random patches all over the deer when I really should have just completed one area first with each color and then moved on to the next area with that color. But I was really frustrated with these markers. I meant to buy brush tip markers instead of bullet nib, and so I was attempting to a sort of pointillism with these that just didn't end up working out. I also think if I had allowed more time for the art to dry a little more before I started going in with colored pencils, I might have been happier with the outcome. I was trying to make a relaxing art video and I ended up just frustrating myself with the process due to the wrong materials. I think it was at this point in the process where I still believed I could turn it around. So I started kind of doing like long lines of color instead of the pointillism, trying to make it maybe look a little bit more like fur, but it just kept getting messier and messier. I do still like how the crow came out though. I think the crow looks pretty good. I liked the kind of blue hue that the crow has. Once I started adding the colored pencil into the work, I was both happy and upset with the results. I felt it started to look muddy and messy in places, and because I stupidly decided to color over the white with a light gray, I didn't have enough contrast in the piece, and nothing I could do with the colored pencils could have fixed that. I potentially could have added gouache to the piece, but I really wasn't sure how the gouache and water would react to the paper, so I left that out, and I didn't want to try with that. I do have a white jelly roll marker that I tried to use as well, but that also didn't end up working. It worked okay on the alcohol markers, but it just was not working very well with the colored pencils. This is the point where I ended up taking a picture and bringing my iPad out, and before I ended up going with the yellow and blue, I was just playing around with colors and trying to pick a color for a background that wasn't just blue and yellow, but I ended up just going with the blue and yellow anyway. If you're interested in seeing an artwork where I'm actually happy with the outcome, you can click the card above to see how I turned my cat into medieval illuminated letters. Once again, I was frustrated with how the nib markers were working. So in the blue sky area, I was just trying to fill it out, but again, I think if I had just let it dry a little bit longer, it would have kind of smoothed itself out better. I did end up really liking how the yellow grass came out, especially when I added the colored pencil. And then the last finishing touch here was just to deepen the outline a little bit around the deer and the crow. I didn't want to go too heavy-handed with it, but I mean, this is just a sketchbook and this is just practice and me making mistakes. So I suppose I could have gone darker if I had wanted to, and I may decide to go darker in the end. If you've made it to the end of this video, thank you so much for joining me and watching all the way through on today's frustrating adventure. I'm going to be posting more regularly from now on, so feel free to join me if you enjoyed this video. You can click the cards above to see a couple of other videos I have done recently. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye for now.